Hi, I'm Amy from Amazing Materials for You, and I am here today to talk to you about balancing synchronous and asynchronous time in math during this time of distance and hybrid learning. So, in the spring, my team and I discovered ways to keep students engaged and motivated in both synchronous sessions and asynchronous tasks by balancing whole group and small group instruction, as well as using different platforms and techniques. I would like to share some of those techniques and platforms with you so that you can keep your students excited about math every day and keep them engaged during these unprecedented times. I'm also sharing ideas for keeping students engaged in math with hands-on materials and activities that will provide much-needed breaks from screen time. In addition to using technology, I'm challenging myself and you to look to the teachings of Montessori, Piaget, Steiner, Vygotsky, and others who focused on learning by doing, and to plan asynchronous tasks that engage students in multisensory learning. I'm excited about this work, and I hope that you are too. My goal is to inspire and motivate you to think outside the box. All right, so I'm going to start with synchronous time. So your synchronous time is the time where students are in class with you and you are instructing and facilitating. So I like to use a combination of independent, partner, and small group work during this time. All right, so I use a workshop model, and in this workshop model, I start with a mini lesson. And something I learned in the spring was that it's really important to keep it mini. I can be a little long-winded when we're in person in class, and so like I said, I discovered that with the time so limited that I really needed to keep it to 5 or 10 minutes and really, work on that learning target and get the kids focused on that and knowing what they need to accomplish by the end of the workshop. So 5 to 10 minutes. I also want to emphasize how important it is to not only model, but to also have some students model their thinking as well, of course. And the platform that we use in my county is Blackboard Collaborate Ultra. And there are some features with it that are really great where students can be presenters and they can share their screen, and they can also use a whiteboard. They can write on a whiteboard when you're in class. All right, so after the mini lesson, we move into hands-on learning, which is the you do part, and it's the bulk, where it's 40 to 50 minutes every day of students collaborating. And I have students work in breakout groups. So Blackboard Collaborate Ultra will divide them into breakout groups for me. But if you're using Google, I'm not really sure about Zoom, but if you're using Google Meet, I think you can set up several different links so that students can go into different rooms, quote rooms, and work together. So my students collaborate. Sometimes they have their own documents. Sometimes they work with partners or in small groups on shared documents. Then at the end of the workshop, I have a sharing time, and again, keep it brief, 5 to 10 minutes, more like 5. And again, using those different tools where they can share their work as a presenter, or they can share a whiteboard and write on the whiteboard. I do have a YouTube channel where I have a lot of the sessions that I was modeling that are available for you to watch if you're interested in that too. Those are from the spring. Okay. So I actually taught this lesson yesterday, and we were working on prime factorization. And so every student had their own copy of this, but they worked in collaborative groups of 5. And so one student was able to project this onto the screen for everyone else to see, and that student was the presenter. And then they worked through the problems together, so they were able to collaborate. So the only information they have to start out is that the number they're factoring is 60, and one of the factors is 20. So they have to work it out down to the prime factors. And then they needed to do 60 again, but this time with one of the factors is 30, and discovering that they would get the same answer. And so there is always a lot of great discussion and collaborative work when students are in small groups doing an assignment. Okay, now this is one I did in the spring, and this is a geometry lesson. And so this is working with reflections. And so students were challenged to draw different polygons using the graph paper. And one student would draw one polygon, and then the other would have to create a reflection on the other side. So one student started with the vertical line and had to draw their polygon on one side, and the other students started with a horizontal line, and they would have to draw the polygon above the line, and then the other partner would draw the reflection below the line. So again, one student would start on the left over here on the left at the vertical line, and then the other student would start on the right, above on the right of the horizontal line, and then they would switch. And again, these students were working with partners, but they were also working in small groups. And so they were able to share and reflect on their work with a small group. Okay. So this is a lesson on fractions and decimals, and I would assign this individually to students, but they would be able to work in small groups. Now I have to escape to show how these are manipulatives that can be moved. And so you're not just drawing a line or something, you're actually clicking and dragging the equal sign or the less than or greater than sign to represent the correct answer. So I have, obviously 5/10 and 1/2 are equal. Okay, so that is something, again, that you can work with students in a small group, and they will have their own individual copy. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to shift to asynchronous time. So kind of balancing screen time and hands-on work. Now, the reason I am recommending that is because in the spring, I don't know about you, but I had 1 hour of instruction during the day, and then we had office hours for another hour of the day. And so there was a lot of asynchronous time, and students were expected to complete a lot of independent assignments. Now, my thought on this is that this is probably what's going on if you're teaching hybrid. I'm not. I'm teaching virtual 100% the whole year. And so right now I am on the computer with my students for 4 hours a day. It's a lot. So, but if you're teaching hybrid, you're going to need probably a lot of screen time assignments that you can check in on and grade and provide feedback. And so I would recommend a lot of what I and my team did in the spring to help you out with that. There's so many resources available, and so many that I used and that we enjoyed, and our students loved, and they were engaging, and students were successful. Okay. All right. So if you are 100% virtual as I am, and you're on screen 4 hours a day, you are definitely going to want to think outside the box and as I said, off the screen as much as possible. So my students love project-based learning. They beg for it. And that has been the case for years. I teach the fourth grade, but I teach fifth grade math because they are in an advanced academics program. Um, so I am highly recommending that when they are not in class, that they are working on some projects and challenges that will keep their engagement high. So, some pretty easy ones are, making a board game is an example of something that they could do that would be a project that would keep them busy and engaged. Now, granted, their parents might have to go out and buy some materials to help with that, but it will. I think that they certainly could do it pretty cheaply. They could even use obviously like a cardboard box for their game board and some materials that I have on the next few slides for their game pieces. So that's something that would be a project that kids could work on, and board games can certainly be used with just about any unit, I think. Certainly they can make a board game for fractions. They can make a board game for decimals. They can make a board game for computation. They can make a board game for, algebraic thinking. There are a lot of different things that they can do. And, you can provide them with a paper die or dice that they can use, and that way, you keep the expenses down. Hands-on learning. I cannot emphasize this enough, especially I think if you're doing a hybrid model, maybe sending some different tasks home with students on their off days and having them work with some common household items and realia and toys to engage with their mathematical tasks. Now, I do realize that there could be some equity issues here if students are in a home where they don't have a lot of toys or things like that. That's why I'm mentioning common household items like shoes and cans and things like that. All right. And then for screen time, keep it interactive. It's really important. There's so many great sites and resources out there that I have found and have used successfully with my students. And I have also found, obviously I also make different resources myself, and have found that, embedding videos is a great way to go, because that really helps with scaffolding. Because if students didn't understand directions, then they can rewatch a video. If they are struggling with with the concept, again, they can go back and rewatch it. If the video is embedded, then you don't have to worry about them, being confused and not understanding how to complete the assignment. Okay. All right. So I have just, made this graphic of different areas that are covered in upper elementary mathematics. So we have multiplication, division, of course, fractions, decimals, measurement, geometry, algebraic thinking, number sense, computation. So I just want you to think about how you cover these different areas in your mathematics classroom, and how you can use the materials that I'm getting ready to show you and the resources that I'm getting ready to show you on the next few slides in your mathematics classroom. Okay. So here we have just a bunch of pictures of toys, and I am a mom, and I always had a ton of toys around when my kids were little. I also have a background in early childhood. And so I'm always, even as an upper elementary teacher, thinking of ways that kids can use different materials that are toys that can help them engage with learning. So, again, you may have some equity problems here. So this may be, if you're teaching in a highly impacted area, students may not have very many toys. But if you're in a hybrid model, you might be able to send some materials home with students to work with. And they can come up with different ways to respond to assignments that you have. All right. Let's see. Okay, so I am going to use the blocks as an example. If a student has a set of blocks at home, perfect way to tie that in with 3D shapes. And, looking at faces and vertices, angles, all of that would be a great way to use those materials. Oops. Okay. All right. And then students can use just common household items for different mathematical tasks as well, and record their thinking on a Google Doc or Google Slides, or even in a notebook. So people have shoes around their house. Shoelaces will be great for measurement. Obviously non-standard. You can make Venn diagrams using shoelaces. You can make different sets using shoelaces, so that you can so that students can work with multiplication that way. Also, you can have families, just send a note home and have families save their boxes so that students can use those for different math assignments as well. All right, recyclable materials. So these different recyclable materials are pretty easy to come by, and if you just ask families to start saving them right now, so that you have them when you need them. The picture in the upper left corner is those tubes are made from advertisements that come in the mail. And so and there's a video attached that shows how that's done. And so this person has made some 3-dimensional shapes using those. And so you can show your students how to make those tubes, and then they can connect them and make different 3-dimensional shapes. And the bottle caps from milk jugs and from orange juice and other containers. Also, yogurt. I mean, you can do all different kinds of sizes. They can use those as game pieces. There are lots of different ways that they can use those. And then, have them start collecting those cardboard tubes as well. Then using other realia. So this is particularly fantastic for kids who maybe don't have a lot of toys at home. Obviously, using fruit is a great way, just cutting up fruit with a family member, great way to look into fractions and then converting those fractions into decimals. that would be a great hands-on, minds-on activity. There are different ways that you can use colorful food like candy or Fruit Loops, things like that. They can go and collect rocks and sticks and use those for responding to different tasks. And then something that's pretty readily available is water, and students can experiment with measurement and volume using water, obviously with a parent's permission. Okay. All right. Now, something else I like to do is I like to involve my students in different kinds of scavenger hunts. And these are the one on the left is for length and width and height, and then the one on the right is weight and mass. And so the one on the right might be a little bit harder for home, but the one on the left can definitely be done at home. Students can find different materials around their house and make some estimates. And there certainly are rulers that you can print out and send home with them, or you can post them and they can print them out and use those to test their estimates after they make their estimates. So this one uses both metric and customary, because we do cover that in 5th grade. And so that's something that is very active and engaging, and students will not be sitting in front of a computer while they're working on this. Okay, so this is another kind of scavenger hunt. So this one would be purely online, and students are looking for definitions of different, or they're demonstrating their understanding of different geometric terms. So I'm going to show you a video of one student's response to this assignment.
Hi again. So we're going to be looking at what we are learning in math, and I wanted to share with you a really great example of the work that you did to prepare for today. So these are the slides that one of your classmates made, and she gave me permission to share them with you. So as you can see, she has included a lot of real life pictures or drawings, a very specific definition, several examples of every type of shape, and also has included several examples of non-examples of this particular shape. So here she has the polygon. A polygon is a shape or figure with at least 3 straight lines, sides, or angles. Lots of examples, several non-examples, and pictures. This is her quadrilateral page. So she has quadrilateral is a shape with 4 sides, angles, and edges. Notice that her spelling is all correct. This is something that's really important when you're working on an assignment, is to make sure that you check your spelling and use a dictionary if you need to. Here is her parallelogram page. So you can see that, again, she has a great definition. She has 4 examples and 3 non-examples. Rectangle. I love the examples here: a dollar bill, a mouse pad, a chalkboard, and a book. Those are all really, really great examples. Here is her rhombus page, and she has a mirror, a board, a cushion. A rhombus is a quadrilateral with 4 congruent sides, and several non-examples: oval, rectangle, square. And then finally we have, we have the square page. She has several. I like this example of a napkin, a chessboard. She actually thought of a lot of things that I wouldn't have even thought of, which I think is very cool. And then the last one is the trapezoid. So you can see that she has her picture and lots of examples there.
Okay. All right. Now, during your asynchronous time, you will definitely want students to be engaged in centers. I know that, if you were in the classroom, you would have centers or places that they could visit if they were finished with their work and they needed additional practice, or if they needed if they needed to engage in some other way. So I have several of my personal favorite places to send kids, and some of these are free. Some of them you might have to talk to an administrator or someone at your school and see if you can give these a try and see which ones you like. So Khan Academy, free, always free. IXL, I have used that in the past. It's been a few years since I've used it, but I love IXL, and I love how they have different. I'm in Virginia, and so we have our own state standards, and so they have assignments that are aligned to Virginia SOLs as well as Common Core, and probably Texas as well. Dreambox. So this is something that we have used at my school and in my district for years. And something that I really like about Dreambox is that it adjusts so that it really engages students where they are, and so it's very customized that way. Something that's new for me and for my students this year is ST Math. So that this little penguin is the mascot or whatever of ST Math, and ST Math is really unique because it uses a visual approach to build deep conceptual understanding. And right away, we're only in our second week of school right now, and right away when I introduced ST Math, my students were going, "Where are the directions?" So the students have to engage with the different games and activities, and kind of troubleshoot themselves and figure it out, because there aren't verbal instructions. And so, it's a totally different way for them to think. Really great for English language learners too. It evens that playing field, so that if you're an English language learner, you are starting from the same point as somebody who's been speaking English their whole life. So because it's all visual, and there are not written instructions. Okay, then QThink. So QThink is also really unique, uses word problems, and students have to represent their thinking, their problem solving, using a variety of responses, including visual and written. So they will have to draw a picture. They also have to make a recording explaining their thinking. So it uses critical thinking skills and communication. Students can also collaborate. So this could be something that could be used. I have only used it asynchronously, but you could use it synchronously if that's something you'd like to look into. Okay. Then these might be a little bit more familiar to everyone. Math Antics, I absolutely love. I love how Rob is funny, and he always includes some great ways of thinking and connecting with kids, and I think he really keeps them engaged. Nearpod. This is something we started using in the spring, and Nearpod has lessons that are pre-made that you can use, or you can create your own. So you can take a Google Slides presentation and upload it to Nearpod, and then add some more interactive features. So it's also a really good choice for synchronous learning, because kids can collaborate and work together on assignments that way. Study Jams, free from Scholastic, and they have great scaffolding in Study Jams, where students work on different concepts, and they have exercises for them to complete so that they can really build better conceptual understanding. Then there's Google Forms. Google Forms is also free, as everyone knows, I'm sure. And the thing that is wonderful about Google Forms is that you can create it one time and put the answers in there, and then you don't have to grade it. It grades it for you, which is fantastic. The thing that's really funny, though, to me always is that it counts their name wrong. And so my students are always saying, I missed one because it says I spelled my name wrong. So, that's always something I have to explain at the beginning. And then always wonderful Brain Pop, Moby and Tim, and all of the fantastic work that they're doing. Now Brain Pop has a feature where you can create classes and create assignments for students, which is something new. Okay. Now this is a different way to approach centers. So this is here what I did. This was in the spring, and I had different sites. So I just am sharing with you the Kahoot site. And what I did here was students were able to choose what they needed and wanted to review in the order that they wanted to do it. So these are just some examples. It was really long, and it was students could go back to it. We started it synchronously, but they were able to go back to it asynchronously to do some review. So I have there's an order of operations activity here that will take them to Kahoot, and they complete the activity, and then it shows them how they did. Again, another self-grading platform, which is always welcome right now with all the extra work that everyone is having to do. This one was for fractions. Measurement. So we have customary and metric. So there was a game, and these are all linked in the Google Slides presentation, so you can visit them on your time. Then this one was data graphing and mean, median, and mode. All right. Now, something that, again, my team and I discovered in the spring was this amazing website. The name of the person is Teresa Wills, and this is one of my very favorite sites for free PD. Free, everything is free. Math games, math manipulatives, and general templates for distance learning. So she's a professor at George Mason University here in Northern Virginia, and she is just a treasure trove of wonderful resources and information. So I'm just going to this is just a screen video. So she has collaborative manipulatives, and then here are some math routines and games that you can use with your students. Everything is free. So I highly encourage anyone who's here to run to Teresa's site and make some copies of these wonderful resources that she has, and you can start using them with your students immediately. Okay. So I thank you so much for joining me today. And I'm hoping that you will join me on my journey and follow me. Here I have some credits. I didn't mention all of these, but these are some wonderful sites as well, different blogs. I also recommend you look at these different clip artists for movable math manipulatives. And then I have, just my credits for fonts and clip art over here. So this is the last page. This has some of the materials that I referenced in the presentation. So one thing that I want to talk about is the 20-20-20 rule. So this is a rule that for every 20 minutes a student is looking, or anyone is looking at a screen, they need to look away for 20 seconds at something that's 20 feet away. So that's something to keep in mind when you're planning and when you're organizing your lessons, is to make sure that you work in those breaks and let them have some time to rest their eyes. And again, why I'm advocating using different materials in their homes to complete some assignments. Then these are just some wonderful sites that I used in making this presentation, and that I'm using with my planning. And I hope that they will be helpful for you as well. So here's 13 math classroom hacks. A lot of these are from We Are Teachers. Active math games and activities. You can see students using some of the materials I was talking about: rocks, cups, making number lines outside. So sometimes a lot of these are really geared to young children, but all you have to do is just kind of think, how can I use this with my fifth graders? And work from that angle. 25 math activities using natural materials. 30 best Lego ideas. So you see how they have place value. So there are different ways to use Lego. Here are the best math websites, and I included some of these in my presentation, and then there are some additional ones. Free math apps. We love free, so definitely check that out. And this is I referred to this earlier, how to make recycled paper sticks, so that you can make different three-dimensional shapes. Less is more in math distance learning. Support math with materials in your home. And virtual manipulatives. So again, my goal here was to make sure that I was giving you lots of resources and places to go to look for things that you can use immediately and that are free. There are some things that cost money here, but I tried to really focus on things that are free. So I hope you enjoyed this presentation and that you learned something that you didn't already know. And I would love to hear from you. If you would like to contact me, you can certainly contact me on any of these places. And then I also I'll actually just add my email address. I forgot to do that. Amazing materials for you at gmail.com. All right. So thank you so much. And hopefully I will see you around. Bye.